It's the battle of the mattresses. Can the newcomer, the Light Tour, beat the old hand, the Therm-a-rest NeoAir Xtherm? And so, which one will win? Found a massive den in the woods. Who brings a sofa into a wood? Walking in my local neighbourhood. Going to try to do a local wild camp. Not around here. They're very posh houses around here. Basically, this is a shakedown cruise for my Scottish trip. I'm hoping to do a live stream later, and I need to test my new old Therm-a-rest. I've got a Therm-a-rest Xtherm, an old one I bought secondhand. We're going to try both the Light Tour and the Therm-a-rest. We're going to do a face-off. The reason for the Therm-a-rest is the Light Tour keeps going down several times a night. Initially I thought it was just a warm breath thing. I think there is a leak on it. But yeah, there's a local reserve which I've had my eye on for a while. I think might be good, as it's a kind of a warmish but cloudy evening. There might be people, so I don't know. I'm expecting a lot of dog walkers. What I don't know is if there's going to be any. I have seen fires up there, the range of fires. So what I don't know is whether there'll be people having parties. And there are places like this which, I mean, that would make a perfect campsite, but it's all very close to the power. Oh, lovely. I knew it'd get a bit boggy down here. You're hearing the A3. Yeah, I mentioned the A3 before in my videos. But you are hearing A3 and 2A roads. Source of all the bogginess. A bench, but it's going to quagmire. I'm hoping somewhere a bit more drier. This pond has turned into a river. Oh yeah, I'm back on these are new Saucony 12s. I'm not confident about this bridge. And there is a massive field up there. I'm not camping on that. Found a massive den in the woods. I'm not sure someone's living there. Get the same idea of me. Except maybe at a more industrial scale. Yeah, I said about people coming here and doing campfires and partying. This is a possible, although I'd have to clear up first. But I don't know whether it's to do with that encampment over there, whether anyone's actually there. So a bit. Yeah, one of the nice things about this area is there's a garden centre, and some of the plants seem to escape. So that's why you've got this rose growing in the middle of, not a wild rose, growing in the middle of a dense wood like this. Unfortunately, I lost a sandal. I had sandals strapped to my back of my thing for the Scotland trip. Cheap ones. The bramble or the trees must have ripped it off, which is annoying. I went back, did the route several times, you know, it's a horrible route. I couldn't find it, so yeah. And that's the view from the hill. But yeah, I expect people to be up here later on watching the sunset. Wow. This is a very possible one. We are near a few paths, but not the main paths. A hell of a big nettle. But yeah, there. It looks like there's been fires there, but that would be good. The thing I don't like, obviously, the noise of traffic, it's A3. There were a couple of people, obviously, couple of requisite teenagers on the hill itself. Unfortunately, that's kind of a sundowner teenage drinker magnet, so yeah, I wasn't planning to come down here for that reason. So I've marked that lovely site. I'm going to have a look around to see if I can find a better, quieter place. Oh, what's that? Someone living here? Or is it just a den? Yeah, no sofa there. Wow. Who brings a sofa into a wood? Wow. That's pretty trashed as well. That makes me wary as well. I mean, I'll be away enough from it, but yeah, there are a lot of dens in these woods now. They weren't here before. Or if they were, I didn't see them. You know what I mean? Oh, this is ridiculous. Yeah, I need to get out of this wood now. I'm heading back to the campsite. This is not good. There's just stuff like this. It's past, but it's rather. A lot this site. It's a lot more overgrown than I remember, and even better, without angsty teenagers hanging around drinking. Yay! We can now have a look around here and see if there's a site nearer to the hill. That's perfect. I think I found my spot. There's the hill, so I can have dinner out there. I'd much rather be on the hill and away from the traffic and do the live stream later. Not too late. Before I do my dinner, after I've set the tent up and all the gubbins, do a live stream. I'll do that. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, there's no one here. And the bigger problem, I don't know if you can see that, there's broken glass everywhere. A moving site, which is annoying. I like this site. I'm going to go further in there. Tent is up finally. That took a while. It's not maybe the best, but I had to cut a lot of bramble away. I've got lots of mattresses to pump up. Yay! In the spirit of fairness, we've got the NeoAir, which is an Xtherm, but it's the old one, so I think it's 5 point something, so it's very comparable to the Light Tour. To be fair, I'm going to try and do these with the pump bags rather than my breath. So I suppose I'm going to do it the same way for each one, it doesn't really matter. The pump bags are so small though, that's why I struggled with both pump bags. I have actually used the pump bag with this and it does work. This is the old valve, and so it fits on like that, so it's not great, but it does work. And yeah, we'll do the same with Light Tour. That is, it takes like 30-40 times to do it. It just takes forever. But yeah, you can do it like this. And you roll. But yeah, I have learned how to do this. That's a better pump bag than the Light Tour. The Light Tour one is pretty rubbish. I can't stream because of YouTube bullshit. It is got this stupid restriction where you have to set it up 24 hours, and I didn't know about that, so I didn't know that I had to go to the app and then say, please, I'd like to stream, and then it comes back, oh yeah, we're going to think about it for 24 hours. Why? If you've got a verified channel, which I have, and you've been uploading stuff, it should be instant. Why do they have to think about this? So, sorry, because I didn't pre-do it. I didn't realise that you had to fiddle around on the app and mess around, which is annoying because I was all set up for it, but oh well, I'll have to be a chilled Well, campers, I'll just do a video about these mattresses, but yeah, this place is supposed to be a housing estate built on here, which hasn't happened that gladly. Part of it used to be used for market gardening and a garden centre, so it's kind of lots of escape plants in the woods, and I have drawn and painted from here, but quite often there is a fire pit area, which not official, but a fire area, and there used to be logs around it you'd sit on, so people do come up here, and and as I said before, teenagers and stuff, so I was a bit wary, but I'm a bit back from all of that now, so I think I'm just going to get my food, see what these mattresses are like, what are they like, and chill out and be rather annoyed about that live stream. Apparently they just, that you have to pre-do it 24 hours. I did not know that. So, first slug sighted. Oh, I think there's slugs. Yes, keep away. Extra protection. We're putting the sit mat down underneath. We'll do that for both. Both are inflated as much as I could. As I say, I use the pump back all the way until it, you get some resistance. There is a point where this starts sort of leaking. I'm sure the wing lock doesn't do that, but this starts leaking when you get to a certain point where the pump bag won't do anymore, and this kind of, again, wouldn't push any more air in, so then you have to sort of finish it off with your mouth for now. I really want to start with Therm-a-rest because I need to test this to see if it works for my trip, so I'll take this one. I don't trust this one because of the deflation issues, but we'll try and make it as fair as possible, so I will switch over halfway in the night into that one. Now, if I had enough time, I would obviously do one night on this one and one night on this one, but then you can't guarantee that the conditions are the same, you can't guarantee that the temperature's the same, you might be camping in different places, you might be doing, probably glaring you. It's difficult to have a metric of testing them. This is not a scientific test. We don't try to, we're not that kind of channel, but I think, switching over halfway through in the night, probably the best thing to do. And if this thing starts deflating repeatedly, I'll go back to the Therm-a-rest. I don't care about the sanctity of the test. Well, if it does what I think it's going to do, which is it'll start deflating. But it'd be interesting to see how much having the extra protection with the sit mat helps as well, and how much it changes, if it changes this, because I've not tried it with this. But it's an equal as test as I can possibly do, and also, I think both needs a bit of protection anyway. And now that's done, I think I'm going to have some dinner. I'm so hungry after putting the tent, and then finding out that I can't live stream, then fighting various bugs. Actually, I've had to evict a spider and a sort of wood lice, and they all climbed into my backpack when I was out there. This place is very, very lots of insects. Very, very insect heavy, this wood. Then pumping up these two, I'm so hungry. So this is what I've got. It's tomato and basil chicken. I don't know about the be good to yourself. I mean, I'm not trying to lose weight, but just I like the fact that it's got the separate potatoes, the separate chicken. I'm never sure with these things how it was like with the Parmentier potatoes on the Harwich collab video, the reservoir one. I cooked Parmentier potatoes in a pot, and it worked. It worked really well. There was a little bit like, actually, in an alcohol stove, this would have probably not worked so well. But these look more cooked than a lot of the other ready meals, which seem to have potatoes that needed to do a lot of time in the oven. This looks actually cooked. So let's see if we can get this cooking. There's also something new I'm trying. Something called Outlery. I'm fed up with these things. The knife works okay, so I'm keeping the titanium knife. It says, I wish it was sharp, but it's not sharp really. Just don't try and cut anything on here. Yeah, I've done that. I have punctured a previous Therm-a-rest with a penknife. That was dumb. The folding Alp kit spork is terrible. Because the thing is you've got the folding bit, and when the force is like that, that's fine. But forks and spoons, they have you have stirring motions, that sort of scooping motion. They collapse all the time when you're cooking. So I've got these, which are stainless steel. These are the rainbow versions, and you just screw them together. It's like Lego. Screw them in like this, and so that's why I've only got two of them, so then, you know, I'm going pretty light, so I can have both two small ones, like that, or if I want to have one large one, we can then screw the connector in, and you know, and then just have one long fork, which is what I'll probably do for the cooking. So that's a bit heavier than a titanium thing, but you know, and so it hasn't got the benefits of titanium. It doesn't collapse when you try and use it. That's the problem with this collapsing sort. So we'll give these a go. The knife in the Outlery set is as useless and blunt as this one. I don't know what it is about knives. Now, some of you will say, well, why are you carrying that when you've only got a penknife? Good point. At some point I might just carry the penknife, but I don't really trust it for food. I like to keep my food things and I was hacking bramble with my penknife. I'm not gonna really want to use that to slice my sandwiches, so I do like to keep these things separately. There's only so much slug slime and bacteria do you want. Sort of frying in some truffle oil. So far this fork is a success. It slightly tries to unravel itself. There is like a little rubber thing you can use to kind of tighten them up fully, but I'm not sure if I'm going to take that with me. So the chicken's in. Just going to put it onto the simmer for a while. It got a bit raughty. And there we are. Hopefully it's nice, because I really am so hungry. I am so hungry. And of course, people talk about stealth camping. This is stealth wine. Cheers. This is stealth wine. A Ribena bottle with red wine in it. Coca-Cola also works as well. If you ever have to go somewhere where you're like, oh, it's a no drinking zone, or you know, like you have to be on a no drinking bus and no alcohol. This is a classic wild camping life tip, but put it in a Ribena or a Coke bowl. Looks like blackcurrant, it looks like Coca-Cola. Don't ask me how I learned that. That is really nice. Might not look it. Yep, I'm definitely having that again. Only criticism, not enough of it. Yeah, I should have brought some more food. I was like, oh, I'm right by home. Why would I bring all the foods? I wish I brought them more now. It's 3 AM and I am really not looking. Oh, owls. It's the owls. It's 3 AM and I'm really not looking forward to this changeover, partly because nice warm bed, but partly because, well, this is half deflated in the night. There's been nothing on this, it's just half deflated. Whereas it's still fully inflated, even with the warmer air from my breath having to part fill it because the pump bag wouldn't completely fill it. So yeah, not looking forward to this, but I will do it for science. Yeah, why am I doing this? Therm-a-rest has been pretty warm. My legs have been cold, but I think that's not a mattress problem. I think it's supposed to be 9 degrees. Carrot says 9 degrees, Met says 7 degrees. If it's much colder up here on this hill. I mean, we are in a wood on a hill, so I know on a hill, yeah, it can be cold. There's a little bit of a slight breeze through, so it should be warmer in a wood. But yeah, no, that's the reason why I'm wearing this. I'm wearing my puffy jacket, and unfortunately I didn't bring my base layers, so this is a reminder that I think probably in Scotland I need to take my base layers. I think this is below 5, because that's usually when my Edges Max bag starts to struggle. That sort of temperatures, I mean, its comfort rating is 5. I know some people have taken it down to 0, but they're usually wearing puffy jacket and extra layers. Of course, a 5C bag could, if you wear extra puffy jacket and extra layers, would go down to 0, you know. So anyway, let's do this switch over and let's see. So it's morning. We tested both mattresses. How did the light tour do? Well, I was surprised when I switched over how comfortable it was. I kind of knew that the design of the Light Tour, generally that baffle design, is a lot more comfortable for side sleepers. I'm a side sleeper, so it worked very well, and it was as warm, or maybe even slightly warmer. Now that sounds like a glowing review, but we already know about one of the major cons of the pad, or my pad. I mean, obviously it might just be my one that is faulty, but yes, I bottomed out at about 2 hours in, or started to, so my hips started to get sort of close to the ground, and yeah, it's kind of half inflated again after 2 hours, or 2.5 hours. The other one is it's quite short for a long pad. I've got the long version. My toes can stretch to the bottom of it, so it's a little bit short compared to the Therm-a-rest, which is, I don't think I can stretch to the bottom of the Therm-a-rest. It's not as thick as the Therm-a-rest, so this is very noticeable when you're sitting on it. At the moment, it's not too bad actually. So it's kind of at this sort of inflation. I'm not actually hitting it. But you can, when you sit on it, sort of just hit the floor, and that can be quite cold. I mean, this is probably not too bad because I've got the extra padding underneath, but without the extra padding, it can be very hard and cold, because obviously when you bottom out, you don't have that layer of... It's a combination of the mylar and the air gap, and if you don't have the air gap, then yeah, it's cold. So, I mean, this was kind of the best scenario for the Light Tour. I've had situations where it is colder, where there's a cross draft, or it's a harder ground, where there's an extra thing like the camping mat or the closed cell pad underneath it, and in a woodland context with sort of leaf mulch, or that sort of softer ground, it works well, apart from the deflation obviously. But other times, yeah, I've been cold on it, so it remains to be seen whether the Therm-a-rest is similar, whether that's a problem with these type of mattresses. I suspect because it's thicker and maybe has more internal insulation, that it would withstand that better. Now, I need to play with the softness of the Therm-a-rest and try deflating it a bit to see if it's better. It's just a nature of the sort of horizontal baffles, is that they aren't as comfortable for side sleepers as one of the sort of, I don't know how to describe it, the sort of the diamond pattern baffling. But those diamond patterns obviously leave sort of slightly cold spots, which you generally don't touch those areas, you touch the higher areas, unless it deflates. In which case, that sort of, the baffling fails. So it's kind of more important, this type of mattress with the sort of the diamond pattern, to be fully or mostly inflated, whereas these sort of baffles, I don't think it's as important. If this is, in fact, people quite often intentionally deflate these to make them more comfortable, whereas this sort of patterning, the structure breaks down as soon as it gets even slightly deflated. So that's the drawback of this kind of design. You have to make sure it doesn't deflate. So which one wins? Well, you're going to hate me saying this, but I would say neither, because there's several criteria. One is, does it keep you warm? Well, both kept me warm, but only one was actually comfortable, but only for an hour or so, an hour and a half, until it deflated, and that's the Light Tour. But the Therm-a-rest got customer service. You can get it, repaired by them, whereas there's no customer service with the Light Tour. The AliExpress seller just said, sorry, when I raised this issue, saying I've always had an issue with it deflating, and now it's completely deflating. It's deflating more and more. It used to be, maybe you'd go down once a night and think, oh, well, maybe it's just warm breath. Now it goes down 4 times a night. So, so with that, I can't really recommend the Light Tour. maybe my one is just a faulty one, and the people who are having such great experiences with it have got good ones. But yeah, obviously the QC is not that great, and you know, you're taking a big risk. And for the same price as a new Light Tour, you can get a secondhand Therm-a-rest, or maybe a Nemo Tensor if you can find one. They seem to be less often secondhand, and you know, so maybe you could find a sort of diamond pattern one. And in the future, I might do that. See if we can find a secondhand diamond pattern one. For the moment, it's going to be the Therm-a-rest. I'll take to Scotland, just because it's reliable. It didn't deflate. It's not as comfortable, but I need something that keeps me warm and off the ground. And the Light Tour doesn't do that. But the search is still on for the perfect mattress. What I'd really prefer is something that was as thick as this one, but had this sort of pattern, and maybe something like the Nemo Tensor. Though again, it's difficult to find those things cheaply or secondhand. It's such a shame that the Light Tour has, sort of for me, has been a bit of a failure, because when it is fully inflated for that sort of first half an hour or an hour, it's perfect. It is really comfortable, and it is usually warm. Or as I say, sometimes that it can be not true. So when it works, it's brilliant. But like anything that's sort of AliExpress, Chinese, there is no customer service. So you know, when it fails, you are completely screwed. Here's a tent. Here's where I was camping. Not my first choice. My first choice was a clearing, I think, over there. That's so much glass. With me having two kind of mattresses with me, I didn't want to nuke both of them. I lost my other sandals. I lost both sandals in here. Ooh, yeah, it's dew. As you can see, some houses, or I don't know, businesses overlooking. But and this is the fire pit I mentioned last night. The place probably would have been better, although noisier. So less glass. Yeah, there's nowhere really to sit. So I might not do coffee and go home. I don't know. It's a very brave snail. They do climb things like that, but they climb our apple trees. What I'm dreading is finding slugs on the tent. There were some around. Slugs make so much noise. You'd be surprised. I can hear them in the garden munching away. And unfortunately, I left the packet from the chicken outside. And yeah, they went for that. And I had to sort of move it away and be like, I'll deal with that tomorrow. At least I can be fairly sure the slugs won't touch this. Slugs and snails do not like copper tape. How camouflage is that? Tent is down. You can hear all the noises now. Okay, just getting the sun coming through. Oh, it's beautiful. That rubbish. Obviously you'll take my rubbish. I can't do anything about the sofa. And all that strange stuff in the forest. There's limit to what I can do. But yeah, I do try and take more rubbish than I bring in. Not always possible on long camps, but this kind of thing, yeah, I can. I'll try and pick up a few things on the way out. So yes, I'm going to head home and probably get some more sleep. It's Sunday in all its glory. It's a beautiful day. I'm walking back past all the big houses. It's not dawn, it's 7 o'clock now, but I should be home shortly. I go back to bed for a bit. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, like and subscribe and share with your friends if they want to know about camping mattresses. You know, might be. So I will link to another video. Hope to speak to you soon.